What is going on, everybody? It's Derz from the Link Up Podcast, and today I want to do a little solo episode here, talk about Chivas, just give a little update on what's going on, just kind of like a quick little summary of what's going on, my thoughts and everything. So I mean, Chivas had a really rough start to this season. Not the best start, to be honest. We're in the probably in the last like three spots in the table, tied in points with basically last place. So we were essentially last place leading up to the Clásico Nacional versus America. And when all hope was lost, because we had a big schedule coming up, we had America. Well, first we had Cruz Azul and we lost, but we dominated that game. But it is what it is. We lost. So coming into that game, we're basically last place with games like America, Tigres, Toluca, all going to come up within a week, essentially. And so all hope was lost. There was no more faith left in that barrel. But somehow, some way, we went to Ciudad Mexico. We beat America in an amazing match, which should have been 2-0. Little iffy free kick given. For whatever reason, an extra 5 minutes were added on at the end in hopes for America to tie, as per usual. They can't get anything, against them, but it is what it is. We end up with the win. We go back home. We play Tigres, a game that we should have won. We had a penalty. We missed it. A lot of opportunities there from La Hormiga, which he should have finished. And we end up with a draw 0-0. So it was a good feeling knowing that Tigres, being a pretty strong team with a lot of offensive power, we kept a clean sheet for the first time that in the whole season. And still, that's the only clean sheet that we've had all season. So it felt good. I felt good getting a clean sheet, feeling like you should have won, but a draw, you would have taken a draw before the game. So it kind of sucks that we ended up drawing because we had the penalty, but it is what it is. I think overall it was a good game. Then Toluca, that was when reality kind of set in. Stupid mistake from Tala ends up giving him the first goal, and then after that, Chivas just kind of pushed up too much people. We end up getting a red card, and Toluca just kind of walks us essentially. It was kind of frustrating because those first 20 minutes it was feeling like Chivas had the game, like we could win that game, and for one thing or another, big mistake from Tala, and then a corner kick goal, which I don't know. Everybody goes towards the first post, and everybody forgets about Gallardo, and he just sneaks in from behind and gets into that penalty area. And they had done that play right before, and we didn't pick up on it, and then they do it again. The third goal, Alexis Vega counterattack. So we just push up too much bodies, and it is what it is. But we end up losing that game 3-0. A lot of people felt like that was like reality setting in. Chivas was just having a little bit of a good patch, and now reality set in. But for me, I saw the game and I thought it was just an unfortunate game. It shouldn't have been 3-0. Maybe we deserve to lose, but I think that if we don't make that mistake in that first half, we would have seen a different result. But it is what it is. Toluca is a really good team. I think they're first place at the moment, so they're obviously doing something right. After that, things start to go into our favor. We have a game against Necaxa, that game at home against our ex-coach who left us. It felt like if we didn't get a result there, that was like the real test for Milito. If we didn't win that game, that was what it felt. It felt like that could have been, maybe we start rethinking things. But we ended up getting a big result with just a bunch of youth academy players. We have La Hormiga Gonzalez scoring a goal, Santi Sandoval scoring a really good goal. Ledesma getting 2 assists. He's not an academy player, but it's good to see Richie Ledesma coming back from injury and getting those stats, getting those 2 assists that game. And then finishing it off with a beautiful banger from the 17-year-old on his debut, Sami Rinda. It's great to see. But yeah, overall, really good game. It gave us, I think, a lot of motivation going into the next games. We had Puebla, very easy win. And then we had Pumas, which is a little bit of a more difficult game, but we ended up getting the result. And I think we definitely deserved the win more than anything. They kind of get a dumb penalty at the end, which thankfully they missed. But yeah, overall, these last 3 games we've won all back to back to back. But there has been kind of like a key thing that I want to mention as far as what has led us to these results. Also, Gonzalez was not playing any minutes in the league before this, essentially. And then since he came in, we beat America. We draw to Tigres, which he's a center defensive mid. His role isn't to attack, so his job was good. We kept a clean sheet. It was unfortunate that we didn't score, but as far as his job, it was handled. Then you go on to Toluca. He unfortunately gets a red card off of this kind of a. It's a soft tackle, but it's above the ankle, so I understand why they gave him a red card. But I don't think that it deserved a red card. But I understand why it happened. But unfortunately, he gets a red card, and then we beat Necaxa without him. He's back into the lineup against Puebla. We win comfortably, and then against Pumas, he has a really good game, and we win again. So since now that Gobea and Eddie Gutierrez is back, it's kind of a discussion as far as who starts in that center mid. Lito likes to play with 2 center mids, and we see also, he gets into the lineup and results start to happen. You see Gobea coming in, and he's really good at controlling the midfield. But also Gutierrez, we can't forget the match that he had against America. Who do we start? Also, the match that he had against Cholos when he came off the bench and he gave a beautiful assist to La Hormiga. It's kind of difficult to argue. Everybody has points in favor, right? So it's huge. This is going to be a huge moment for Milito, since now he has essentially a full squad. We have Piojo and Gutierrez probably coming back for this next match against Mazatlan. Hugo Camberos and Yael Padilla are also coming back from the selección, unfortunately. Unfortunately for Mexico, but I guess fortunately for Chivas, because they're a big part of the squad. But yeah, it's tough. Also Gonzalez is so good, and he offers you something different than Gobea and Gutierrez. He offers that sort of liberty for the other players, whoever he plays with, either Gobea or Gutierrez, to have that freedom to push up and to try to be more influential in the final third. So it's kind of like a question of what is most, like, what is the biggest necessity, I think, in Milito is mine. I think if we're going to play a team like Mazatlan, which we have next, I would probably not start also, just because he's not going to be required as much, in my opinion. Mazatlan's probably going to defend a lot of the time and just try to counterattack. So I think it would be better just to sacrifice him and have another offensive midfielder like Gutierrez and Gobea together. But when you have games against, like the last game of the season that we're going to have versus Monterrey, where they're going to also try to fight with you, I think also Gonzalez is going to be really important in a game like that. So I think it's going to be something where Milito kind of decides based on who he's going to play. It's going to rotate depending on what he sees fits best. It kind of sucks to see also Gonzalez go on the bench after he's done so much, but he's kind of that player that is going to, get the minutes that he has and take advantage of what he has. And he's just an important player, but he's always going to be undervalued, in my opinion. It's unfortunate for him, but these are the type of players that you need in your squad in order to win championships. People that are willing to do the dirty work and do whatever it takes to get the result in your favor. So it's important to have them, I think. But again, depends on who you're playing. I think we're going to see him probably take the bench when it comes to teams like Mazatlan, maybe even Atlas, teams that we don't need to have such a defensive mindset or even think about defending as much as offending, since those teams are probably going to sit back and try to counter against us. But yeah, it's interesting. I would love to see what you guys got to think about that down in the comments. Another thing I want to mention is Dani Aguirre. Dani Aguirre, I think, is really, really good, in my opinion. He feels like a new transfer, him and Gobea, because we haven't been using them at all coming up to this. And they've been at the club for like a year and a half, getting no minutes. And then all of a sudden, Milito sees something in them. And, they're actually performing. Gobea has a goal this season. I think Dani Aguirre, he scored against Pumas, and I think he got an assist against Atlético San Luis. So, they're getting the numbers, and on top of that, their role in controlling the midfield. I mean, Dani Aguirre plays a center back position sometimes, like versus Pumas, he subbed in at center mid, but his role is more so controlling the ball, making sure that we don't lose the ball, just having that just passing the ball around and having that security that we don't have in players like Sepulveda playing from out of the back. Dani Aguirre has that defensive mindset, yet he could, start moving the ball around better than, like I mentioned, Diaz Sepulveda. So that's like an important position that Milito's system kind of requires is center backs that can actually pass the ball, because he has such a aggressive defensive line. So that's another question that I like to open up into the comments. Sorry, that the whole Dani Aguirre situation. Do you guys start him? If you do, where do you start him? Because in my mind, my back three, if you want to call it that, my three center backs is Campillo at right center back, Luis Romo in the middle, and then Jose Castillo at left center back. But a player like Dani Aguirre, who he just also seems like also where he's undervalued, not much people know about him, and he always puts in a shift. And so it's kind of like, what do you do in this situation, right? I would love to see him start, but Campillo has just been, I mean, this transfer window, we did really good business. But Campillo, like, would I rank him at number one as far as those transfers? I don't know. I think we needed a center back, so it makes him seem a little bit more important than the other transfers. But he's proven that he's one of the best center backs in Mexico, and I would love to see him in the selección. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, like, where do you put him? I don't think Dani Aguirre is probably as comfortable as Jose Castillo playing on a left center back position. Jose Castillo kind of plays any role, and he's just your Swiss Army knife in that back. In the defense. So I don't know. I think Dani Aguirre is a good option off the bench. But yeah, I think he's just going to be a bench role at this point. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down below. But maybe there's an option to put Castillo at right wing back, and then put Dani Aguirre in the back line and shift it a little bit, putting maybe Campillo at left center back, and figuring out from there. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. I think Milito has a lot of thinking to do as far as what's going to come up in these next couple games. He has a full squad finally, and I do not want to be in this position right now because there's just too many options, and they're all really good, and that's good for team competitiveness. But to make that starting lineup is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Moving on, another thing that's coming is the introduction of Piojo back into the lineup. He has not had the best of seasons, but I'm hoping that he comes back from this injury, hopefully a little bit more refreshed, maybe seeing things from the bench, or not from the bench, but not being able to play has opened his eyes a little bit to what he wants to see. Just getting a little bit more motivation, seeing us winning all these games, maybe brought back that hunger of wanting to be back in the lineup, feeling like, his position is not guaranteed because the other players have been doing really well in his position. So I think that he's going to be fighting just as hard as everybody else to get into that starting lineup. But I mean, I already mentioned before, Richie Ledesma getting 2 assists against Necaxa. He's been crucial in these games. I think he also got the assist against Puebla. So yeah, Richie Ledesma has been putting in good numbers in these last couple of games, and he's been playing that right wing position in that 3-4-2-1. And it's kind of hard to argue against it. He's been doing really well. He has that fight in him. And then, but where do you put Piojo? I mean, it's kind of like a 1-for-1. You could put Richie Ledesma at that right wing back position, and Piojo in that right kind of attacking midfielder position. But then you also have Santiago Sandoval, who has really been doing good, and he's been growing, I think, a lot. I think at the beginning, I questioned a lot the reason why he was playing. He would lose the ball constantly, and he just wasn't doing much. He was not really seeing the ball. He was just running around, maybe dragging defenders, but he wasn't doing anything on the ball, to be honest. And I was begging for every time I saw him on the pitch, I would always, like, when he would start, I would think that he needed to be the first person to get out, always, constantly. And for whatever reason, Melito just kept on playing him and kept on playing him over Camberos, over Yael Padilla, even over Piojo versus Cholos. And I just didn't understand why he kept playing him. But now I see it. Now I see how good he is, how he's so techy, and it's almost impossible to take the ball away from him unless you foul him. That play against Pumas, where he receives the ball, they switch it over to his side. He cuts in, and then he fakes, and he completely drops the defender, and then he shoots, and it's just slightly off. But it was an amazing play, and I see what Melito saw in him. But now we have the introduction of Camberos, Yael Padilla, and Piojo. What is this lineup going to see as far as the wingers? What are we going to see from that? Efrain Alvarez, who at moments he's frustrating to watch because he gets too cheeky with it. He always wants to do an extra play, but when he does the thing that we got him for, right? His balls, the balls that he puts in, like the assist against Pumas, a beautiful, perfect pass to Hormiga, who just heads the ball perfectly. For me, it's hard to bench him too because he's been doing great. And then you have Cade Cowell off the bench, who's super fast, but I don't know. I think this formation doesn't really suit a Cade Cowell because he likes to be more out wide, unless you're going to play him at left wing back. But I mean, Cotorro Gonzalez has that position on lock. I think nobody's really going to take that position. So, I think Cade Cowell's only option is either striker or those offensive midfielders, which they tried him as striker against America, I think against Tigres, and I want to say against Toluca as well. And he didn't get any numbers, and Hormiga did. Granted, America, Tigres, and Toluca are way harder oppositions than Necaxa, Puebla, and Pumas. Would we have seen different numbers? I don't know. But I think that Milito sees Cade Cowell more as a striker or someone to come off the bench when we want to counter and change the formation to more like a 5-3-2 to try to control the ball a little bit more, and two strikers up there to just counter. I think that right now that's another big question that Milito has to ask himself is, what does he do with the wingers? It's hard because Camberos and Jael Padilla have not been playing really much before the U20 World Cup as far as getting minutes in Chivas. He's been prioritizing Santiago Sandoval, and I thought that the reason why he did that was simply because he knew that these players were going to be gone during this time of the season, and he just wanted to probably work on somebody else, try to develop Santi Sandoval, so that by the time that we did require him and we did need him, he'd be ready rather than play Hugo Camberos and Yael Padilla, and then they leave, and who do you have on the bench, right? So that's what I was thinking. But now Santi Sandoval has really been performing, and it's a hard question. Like, what do you do? Looking at the numbers, Santiago Sandoval has 2 goals this season. Piojo has a goal, and I think Hugo Camberos only has an assist this season. So the numbers favor Santiago Sandoval, and I think historically the numbers favor Piojo. But it's a tough one. What do you do with Camberos and Yael Padilla? Yael Padilla had a very, 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 very good start to his career, getting 3 goals back to back when he was debuting under Paunovic. But ever since then, he's been struggling. I don't know if the fame got to him or reality set in, but he has not had the best of numbers. So I think Yael Padilla is last on that list. Camberos is somebody who's very techy, very fast. But again, I don't know if he's like maybe more of like a Cade Cowell style of player who likes to stay out wide. I don't know if he suits what Milito wants with his formations with more inward attacking midfielders. So that's a big question. What do you do? I think Piojo has that ability to play more of like a cam. So he does suit the system. But Camberos and Yael Padilla, I think they're too important to what they could be in the future for Chivas that you can't waste these talents. So again, maybe a good option off the bench to refresh the squad, to bring in a little bit more of speed, dynamicism. Yalpadilla is a little bit more techie, more he could play more of a center mid type of role. So he suits the system, but his numbers have not been that good. So it's kind of one of those things where you would just hope that they do better, but it is what it is. I think, in my opinion, I'd rather start Piojo and keep Santi Sandoval and maybe Camberos on the bench, and maybe Alpadilla has to, go back to the U23s and get a little bit more minutes there. But I don't know. I'd love to hear what you guys got to say in the comments. But I think Richie Ledesma at right wing back with Piojo at that right mid position is the way to go. Going on, I think another thing I wanted to talk about is the striker situation, where we have Chicharito, Wilke, and Pulido. I think that Chicharito, I love him. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people think that he's washed, this and that. I think he's super important, at the very least, for what he offers you inside of the locker room. I don't know. I'm just a Chicharito fanboy, to be honest. So I'm always going to support him. But it is true. His numbers are not good. When he came on against Toluca, he shanked a shot like terribly. I think Richie Ledesma gave him a pass and he flew it. And he has not been performing. And we need the best of the best. And we're not going to get there with just being, thinking about Chicharito for what he used to be, but not for what he is now, Also, Pulido was great for us in 2017 when we won the league, but what has he done now? He started off pretty good last season when we just got him. He was scoring almost every game, but this season he got injured. I don't know what's going to happen with him. Then Wilke, I like the fact that he's young, but to be honest, whenever I see him play, he's like 6'4". You have to win every header. You're playing in the Liga MX. You're not playing in the Premier League where you have these huge physical defenders. You're playing against center backs that are probably 6'2" max. You're taller than everybody. You have to win these headers, I think. Especially when you have players like Efrain Alvarez, even Cotorro Gonzalez, Richie Ledesma. Mozo, once he comes back from injury. You have Piojo, Guti, all these players who are super technically gifted that could give you a perfect cross. You should be the striker, in essence. You should be that good that you should be starting. You should be that good at headering that you should be starting, because we have all these players that are really good passers, but you're not. And it's not because that's not the style of play that we play. Chivas likes to build up to play with the right center back pushes up almost as a right back. The right wing back will come around, and then the right attacking mid will come in, tuck in a little bit like this, all around the 18-yard box. So we do like to play with our wingers when we build up from the back. So there is a possibility for us to cross. Yet, we saw it against Pumas. Hormiga got really high and finished incredibly well that play. But that's something that we have. And if we have someone that's 6'4", in my mind, he should be starting, and we would get so many goals through him. But like I said, whenever he comes on, he's not winning any headers. And it's just unfortunate because you're such a big guy. You should be winning all these headers. And that would be a huge plus to our play. And I would love for it to have been like, have him on the bench and he comes in and he wins us the game with headers. But unfortunately, like I mentioned, he doesn't win any headers and he's not fast. So it's like, what are you really doing? What do you really offer? So in my opinion, same thing with Yalpadilla. Send him back to the under 23s to get him some more minutes. But I think in Chivas, he doesn't fit. If you look at the bench, I think Pulido's a good option off the bench or even starting, depending on who Milito sees fit for the game. But again, I don't know. It's unfortunate because you have all these young players, and if they performed well enough, they would obviously be playing, and we would be sitting on a gold mine with all these young talents that could come off the bench and to continue to develop. Yeah, I think that at the moment, I think you got to start Richie Ledesma at right wing back, Campillo, Romo, Jose Castillo as the center backs. Left wing back is going to be Cotorro Gonzalez. Center mids, I would want Guti and also, but I think that if it's a game that we're going to play a little bit more offensive, I would see Gobea being a better option. And then as my offensive midfielders, I would like to see Efrain Alvarez on the left, Piojo on the right, with Hormiga up top. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And I just wanted to round this off with the numbers as far as what Chivas has had this season so far. We're ninth place. We're right in the middle, and I think our numbers justify that. We're eighth in league for most goals, and we're also eighth in the league for least goals conceded. We're ninth place. I think that kind of the numbers kind of justify that. But when we look at who we have next, right? Mazatlan, definitely winnable. After Mazatlan, I'm trying to think. I think it was Pachuca. Let me quickly pull the numbers up. Sorry, guys. But I think the next couple games, I think the next 5 games, I think Chivas could go on a win streak, continuing the win streak that they're already going through. Right? They've won the last 3, and the next games that they have are we have Mazatlan next. Why is it not showing me who we have after that? Give me 1 second. Oh, right here. My bad. So, like I mentioned, we have Mazatlan next. Then after that, we have Querétaro. Then after that, we have Atlas, Pachuca, Monterrey. Mazatlan, Querétaro, and Atlas, I think they're must wins. When you look at the table, Mazatlan is currently sitting at 13th with 11 points. Querétaro is below them at 14th with 11 points also. Atlas is actually 11th. They won their last 2 games. So now they jumped up to 11th with 13 points. So these are definitely all teams that we should be beating. And then we finish off with Pachuca, who's 7th, and then Monterrey, who's currently 3rd. I think that if we win these next 3 games, we'll easily jump from 9th to maybe 8th or 7th, depending on results from other teams. And then with Pachuca and Monterrey, I think if we beat them also, I think we're jumping into a top 6 position where we'll qualify for the playoffs automatically with no play-in, no extra game having to be played. Whether that helps teams or not, I think it does less for the team than it does help them. I was thinking before, like having that extra game while the other teams rest can be detrimental because it slows down your momentum. It gets you out of form when you're taking that break. But historically, I think that the teams that get automatically into playoffs end up doing better in the competition anyways. So I guess overall, we want to be in the top 6. I think is more beneficial than not. But again, I think that we're going to win the Mazatlan, Querétaro, and Atlas game. I think that we have to win those games. I think that those wins will put us at least at 7th. And then with the Pachuca Monterrey game, with I think Pachuca is a more accessible win than the Monterrey game. We'll see a definite top 6 position. Monterrey's kind of been shaky. They started off really good, and now they're kind of losing that form. They lost to Toluca 6-2, and the only team that they've beaten in the last 5 games is Querétaro and Santos, which are bottom of the league teams, with a tie to America. They were winning 2-0. They messed that up. And then a tie to Cholos. So Cholos are doing really good. They're 6th spot. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, just let me know what you guys think about Chivas this season, what you guys are excited for, what you're not excited for, what you guys think about my takes on who needs to start, what's going to happen with the bench, what's going to happen with these players that are just coming back. Do they make the squad? Do they not make the squad? All that stuff. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.